This weekend, a big debate came up on my Twitter page. I saw a post that asked if Mike Tomlin should be talked about as one of the best head coaches in NFL history, and I basically responded by saying, no, he doesn't quite have enough playoff success, which I thought was a pretty reasonable take at the time. Turns out, people did not like that answer. All the Steelers fans came out of the woodwork to tell me how wrong I am or how stupid I am, so I got to thinking, am I wrong and stupid? Today, we'll be taking a look at Mike Tomlin's career and analyzing if he's already worthy of being talked about as one of the greatest coaches of all time. So the main point I was making in my argument was to say that he didn't have enough playoff success for me to consider him one of the greatest of all time. And I still think that has a lot of merit. He's won the Super Bowl only once in his career. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. That is still an amazing feat, and most coaches won't even sniff a Super Bowl in their career. But in the grand scheme of all-time coaching, that's underwhelming. Look at all these coaches that have won more chips than him. And once again, this isn't to say he's not a terrific coach, but the question is if he's one of the greatest of all time. To me, that means you have to have an argument to be a top 5 guy. I'm not even sure he has an argument to be a top 10 yet guy at this point. He has one other Super Bowl appearance in his career, but he wasn't able to win that one against the Packers. Looking at the broad scope of his playoff career outside of these years, it's pretty ugly. He's been bounced in the first round 6 times, and he only made it to the conference championship one other time. Some people were really passionate about how he found success in the playoffs despite playing in the same conference as Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. That's true, but he had a lot of luck avoiding them in the playoffs when he actually went on his big runs and found success in the playoffs. In 2008, when they won the Super Bowl, he beat the 4-seeded Chargers, the 6-seeded Ravens, and knocked off the NFC 4-seeded Cardinals to win the championship. For reference, the Chargers were 8-8 that year, the Ravens were 11-5, and the Cardinals were 9-7. That isn't some dominating playoff run. Not to mention, this was the one year that Tom Brady missed the entire season because of a torn ACL. Manning got upset by the Chargers, so the Steelers didn't even have to go through either of these guys the one time that they won with Tomlin at the helm. Again, that's not his fault, and I'm not invalidating his Super Bowl win, but I am refuting the idea that his playoff accomplishments mean more because he was playing with Manning and Brady in the same conference. The other year that he went to the Super Bowl, it was the same story. The Mark Sanchez-led Jets upset both the Patriots and the Colts, which cleared the way for the Steelers to play the Ravens and the Jets rather than the Colts and the Patriots en route to the Super Bowl. Don't ask me how Mark Sanchez beat both Tom Brady and Peyton Manning because I still don't have an answer for you. But that's enough about his shortcomings in the postseason. Let's talk about one of the main arguments that people made to me about why he's an all-time great. The most common one was his streak of never having any losing seasons. And yes, I'll be the first to agree that that is a very impressive feat, but that alone is not enough for me. Think about it in baseball terms. It's cool when a batter can hit singles a lot, but without a few home runs sprinkled in here or there, they just aren't as good as some of the best to play the game. When we're talking about the greatest of all time, we aren't talking about the people who have been consistently above average. We're talking about the people who have been great. And I don't consider good consistency in the regular season without much playoff success relative to the rest of the field to be great. If you look at the teams that he's gotten to coach as well, you can't really make an argument that he wasn't in a good enough situation to achieve more than he had. He had a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger for the majority of his career, as well as other Hall of Fame players like Antonio Brown, Cameron Hayward, TJ Watt, Troy Polamalu, Hines Ward, James Harrison, and other good players, probably not Hall of Fame worthy, but good players like Le'Veon Bell, Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, and Mike Wallace. He's had the tools. I mean, the Killer Bees were around for years, and he somehow didn't accomplish anything in the playoffs with them. That's a discredit to him. If Bill Belichick was coaching that kind of a team, I promise you they would have achieved a lot more than that. Now, before we end the video, let me make my argument crystal clear so there's no straw man arguments. Yes, Mike Tomlin is a great coach. And yes, I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. And yes, he's still young and could accomplish a lot more before his career is over. But as it stands right now today, his resume with one Super Bowl win isn't going to cut it to be considered one of the best of all time. He has no argument to be ranked better than coaches like Bill Belichick, Don Shula, Vince Lombardi, Bill Walsh, George Halas, Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, or even Bill Parcells. He's better than 95% of head coaches who have ever been in the NFL, but he's a long ways from being better than any of the guys I just mentioned. So therefore, he is not one of the best head coaches of all time. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell down below so you don't miss a beat. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why in the comments down below, and we'll see you next time.